All right, welcome back, folks. We're working on a Kenmore 90 series top load washing machine. The unit's 10 to 12 years old. Have a disclaimer at the beginning. I am going to be doing a lot of this one-handed and setting the phone down. Also apologize for any background noise. I got 3 kids in there. 3 kids of mine, they're playing Fortnite, so they can get a little rowdy with that. Anyway, I believe the water valve, which this is the replacement part here, water valve and its adapter bracket. I believe the original water valve is out, and I say that because I have very little water pressure or volume coming out when it's on the cold setting. Also, if I'm running the warm setting, the water is hot because there's no cold going to it, and of course hot and warm both flow very well. So we're gonna replace that valve and hope that's the culprit there. Before we begin, there's a few tools you're going to need. We've got a flathead screwdriver here. We've got a Phillips. We've got a 5/16 socket and ratchet. We've got some pliers. And for this adapter plate, we use a 1/4-inch socket here to attach this onto here because the original water valve, the bracket's made onto it. So, as you can tell, I love Craftsman tools. So to begin, come over here, and on this side panel here, you got to start by removing these end caps. You just kind of pry up and pull a little bit. Be gentle with it so it don't snap or break. You want it to snap off, but don't break. Same thing on this side. All right, once you have those off, very next step here, you do have a couple of small sheet metal type screws, but they are going into plastic. I don't know if you can see that down in there. There's one on that side. Of course, same thing over here. So we're going to begin by taking those off. Pardon me just a second. One there. A little side note, I do believe on these models anyway, these were actually made by Whirlpool for Sears, or for the Kenmore line. So once you have your 2 screws out, what you're going to do is gently take your control panel, push in, kind of pull out a little bit, actually not push in, but pull out, lift, and rotate backwards. Try to be easy with it. You don't want to cut any of your wires. So that exposes the rest of the cabinet. And on each side in the back, you do have a clip. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a indentation there. On this side, you would take a flathead screwdriver, push it in there, and just pry, and it comes right out. Take your clip, set it aside. Usually goes off pretty easy. One of the things I failed to mention earlier is on the original water valve that's still on the unit. As you can see in there, there's a couple of screens. I did check that as well on mine. I have them out right now. There was some sediment that was in there, but not enough to restrict the flow, and the sediment was pretty much equal on both the hot and cold. So now that you have the cabinet pretty much unsecured in the back, what you actually do is you're going to rock, take 2 hands, a hand on each side, rock the cabinet, lift it back towards you, and then back up and pull it towards you, and it should free it up, and you can just set it out the way. So I'm gonna set the phone down for just a minute. Could see that. I'm hoping you could. Anyway, so I've got it rocked back, as you can see, and I'm just going to drag it towards me. usually they're not too much of a pain once you've done that a couple times. So down here you have a connection for the lower hot, electrical connection for the cold side. You're going to have a hose clamp and a hose you need to separate. So I didn't mention earlier, when you're messing with an electrical appliance like that, it's best to disconnect power supply, which I have. That's the black cord right there. We got power supply disconnected. I'll go ahead and pop those things loose. Always take care in doing it so you don't break anything. Got those loose. Take your pliers again and pull that hose clamp down a little bit. And always on a rubber hose or any type of fuel hose, anything like that, try to rotate before pulling. That'll kind of break its grip that it has on the metal part there, on the metal part. So everything on that side's done. So come back over here on the back, and you have your hot and cold hose, and you have your two 5/16 sheet metal type screws. So let's get these hoses out the way first. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of residual water left over. May not. While we're sitting here filming this, I am surprised that we haven't heard any hooting and hollering with them kids. I guess Fortnite's going their way right now. Of course, in about 30 minutes when I'm done with this project, Fortnite will not be going their way, because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to own them. So 5/16 wrench here, ratchet, excuse me. A lot of this stuff on these washing machines isn't real tight either, so the same applies when you tighten it up. You don't have to crank down on it super hard. A lot of it's sheet metal that it's screwing into, and there's a high chance you'll strip out the hole. Y'all don't let me forget that screw down there that I dropped. That's gonna be fun getting back there. All right. So again, there's your old water valve. Just kind of pull and it comes right out. As we were talking about earlier, this one's bracket is attached. I did last night take this sucker apart, and there's a solenoid, electrical solenoid for the two valves, a hot and cold valve. And I did take it apart. I flip-flopped it, and I made it to where the cold now works and the hot don't. So that lets me know that there's not a blockage inside the body of this thing, and it was an electrical problem. So now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and reassemble. Or let's put this adapter plate on this one here. Again, I apologize for the one-handed work here. Line that hole up in there. And I have already checked that this plate does fit this washer. So get that started there.